What's up, Niner fans? My name is JT Magnum. Welcome to Niner News. Third preseason game is over with now, so here I am. I want to talk some 49ers. It's hard to talk about the 49ers after each preseason game because you don't really know, you don't know what's going on yet. Things don't come together. After the third preseason game happens, you kind of know what's going to happen with the 49ers going forward. You kind of know what's going to transpire. And I want to talk about the three preseason games. Not much to, really talk about. I mean, with wins and stuff, you don't want to look at wins in preseason. You don't really care about stuff like that. You want to know how the players played, the starters played. And so far, so good, especially in the defensive side for the 49ers. But so far, so good on the offensive side in a sense of not so much scoring points, but you can see already that the 49ers are putting in an effort to correct mistakes from last year. The one thing that they did have a problem with this preseason was penalties. There was a lot of penalties called, and they need to get that underway. Tomsula has mentioned it probably almost every time I can think of that he's talked about in his press conferences he's mentioned penalties, and the Niners have to get rid of those. You have to cut down on penalties in this day and age in the NFL because it can cost you games. And the Niners just, for some reason, still seem to be racking up some penalties. So hopefully they'll correct that moving forward, and they'll get those penalties down. But the delay of games, I've only seen one. In three preseason games, I've seen one delay of game penalty. I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I've watched all three games, but I can remember one, and that was in this last game. They just weren't paying attention to the clock, or something happened. I don't know what happened, but as far as I'm concerned, I've seen nothing but getting to the line of scrimmage really fast. Colin looking at the defense. He's not been allowed to call audibles because they're trying to figure out their offensive line situation. So from what I hear, he's not audible into plays or anything like that. They're just trying to run their schemes, run their stuff, and see what happens. Much talk about the offensive line, how it sucks, and the right side of it in particular. But I think it's more of an experiment thing, especially this last preseason game against Denver. I think it was more of a test to see where those certain players were at, and those certain players being Ian Silberman and Marcus Martin and Eric Pierce. And I'm not sure how they're going to roll with that offensive line, and I'm not sure how or what they're going to do with it. I mean, I have my take on it, and if you want to hear my take, I think it should be left tackle Joe Staley, of course. I think it should be left guard Brandon Thomas. I think the center should be either Marcus Martin or Kilgore. Obviously, Kilgore's on the PUP list right now, so he ain't going to be playing. So Marcus Martin at center. I think the right guard should be Trenton Brown or Alex Boone. But I think it should be Trenton Brown, and I think the right tackle should be Alex Boone. That's just me. If you're going to switch up anything, maybe right guard Trenton Brown or right tackle Trenton Brown, and then right guard Brandon Thomas. But I think that's the better line. I think those guys would do better. And I don't know, it's just me, but I don't think Eric Pierce is a starting right tackle. I don't see him as that. I see him more of as a guard, and I see him more of as a backup. I don't see him as a player that should be starting in the NFL. He wasn't good on the Bills. He wasn't, highly rated. He wasn't like a great player. I don't know why they like him at right tackle. Maybe because he has more experience. And right now, experience is maybe what they're looking at and what they need. But as for me, I want to see the youngins play. I want to see somebody else with more talent play. And I think Pierce is just, he was getting killed. He was getting run around and pushed around. And I don't think Trenton Brown gets that. He hasn't given up a sack or given up a hurry in any preseason action whatsoever the whole preseason from what I read. And I didn't see him give up anything other than the one time he tripped, and it was because his own lineman tripped him and the guy got around. That was the only time he gave up anything, and that really doesn't count as a give up because he tripped. So, like I said, I like to see them shuffle around the offensive line. I'm very interested to see what they do with it. I think Tomsula has a plan with that. He did mention that he was going to change around. They were just experimenting with things. So we'll see how that goes. Jarryd Hayne, wow. I actually think I'm actually more shocked at how he played, and just surprised. But he's going to make the roster. There's no way he's not. Tomsula mentioned him actually. They didn't actually play him that much in the third preseason game, and people asked why, and they said, well, he already knows what he can do. So they were trying to give other people opportunity to see what they can do just to give him a shot at it. But it looks like Jarryd Hayne's going to be our main return guy. he's going to make the team. Just for the simple fact to be a change of pace running back. He's not going to play a lot of running back per se, probably. He might get some reps here and there, but he looks like he's going to be our return guy, and I like it. I mean, the guy can catch, the guy can play. Just forgive me if I get this wrong. Rugby people, Australians, please don't be upset with me. If you want, leave it in the comment section. Tell me what exactly he was. But I believe he was a National Rugby League player. I don't follow rugby. I don't watch it. So you have to forgive me. Feel free to link me videos or tell me videos to watch, and I'll try to watch them the best I can and get up to date on it. I feel bad, mentioning that, because I know a lot of people get really sour on that when people don't know. But I don't know the difference between the two sports. I know there's a difference between a National Rugby League and something else. I know that Jarryd Hayne is in a class above when you're talking about National Rugby League. That's what I know about it. He's like an all world-class athlete, pretty much. That's what they consider him. And he looked it even in the NFL. I mean, he does run a little high. He needs to get low with his pads a little bit. Still, he's working on that, I'm sure. He's not used to that. He runs a little tall, but he's going to get blasted, especially against a team like Seattle or somebody with some big safeties or big linebackers. He's going to get blasted, so he needs to cut that. He needs to shore that up, but that takes time. And he just came into the NFL. So, and for somebody that just came in the NFL, he's doing very well. So I'm very happy about that. It looks like Kendall Hunter might be the odd guy out. I'm not sure. Maybe they'll try to trade him. Maybe they'll try to do something. But I think Kendall Hunter is going to be the odd guy out. It's unfortunate. Kendall Hunter was one of my favorite players. Very good scrappy running back, very fast, elusive running back, but he didn't look good in that third preseason game. And I just think Hayne right now is I think he leapfrogged him. So looks like he's not going to make the final cuts. We'll see what happens, but I don't think Kendall Hunter makes it. But NaVorro Bowman, woo! Is he looking amazing or what? I mean, 9 tackles, 2 sacks on Peyton Manning, who does not get sacked very often, and NaVorro Bowman rushed in untouched. I mean, he just knows how to blitz. He's always been a really good blitzer. There was a game against the St. Louis Rams maybe 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago, because he was hurt last year, and it wasn't the year before. It was the year before that. Patrick Willis was gone. NaVorro Bowman took his, basically showcased his pass rushing skills. He forced a fumble, got a sack, did multiple spin moves, caused havoc on the Rams offensive line, and got the 49ers a victory because of it. And he was flashing that, and you could see it. And he says he's not all the way back yet. I don't know about anybody else, but that's scary. If he says he's not even fully all the way back yet, and he's playing like this, whoo, look out, NFL. I'm telling you right now, this dude is going to be defensive player or defensive player. He could be defensive player of the year, could be comeback player of the year. We'll see. I mean, he's definitely definitely a candidate for comeback player of the year, because if he plays like he played against Denver in that preseason game, he just looks like he's having fun. He looks like he knows what's going on. He looks like he's ready to take over that defense, and I'm excited. And now, now the media is retracting all that defensive statements. Maybe the 49ers will be good on defense. Oh, maybe the 49ers didn't lose so much. And now they're saying, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal they lost Justin Smith and Patrick Willis. Oh, now it's not a big deal that those cornerbacks left, Chris Culliver and Parrish Cox. It looks like these young corners are playing very well. Oh, maybe the 49ers are not going to be such in dismal states in defense. Don't try to retract your statements, media. Come on. Don't try to retract it, because now the 49ers all of a sudden look good to you. Don't try to do it, media. We all know. We've been watching. We've heard everything you've said all year long. The 49er fans are the only ones who knew. A lot of 49er fans, not everybody, because there was some bandwagon fans out there that just became 49er fans that don't know anything about the team, who they drafted, who the players were on the practice squad, things like that were up and coming, like Mike Purcell and other players, and they decided to just say, oh, fire Trent Baalke, get rid of Jed York, even though he's the freaking owner. Anyways, they're all retracting their statements now about the defense. Now they're talking about the offense, because they want to hurry up and get to something else, because they're trying to critique anything that's bad about San Francisco. And you can tell anything that they can find bad, they're trying to pinpoint it and get into it and try to jab at it and try to jab at the 49ers, trying to take any kind of little bit of jabs they can and try to get get inside the head of the 49ers. But it doesn't look like the 49ers are phased. The 49ers look confident coming into the season. They look loose. Much looser than I've ever seen them play. I mean, under the 3 years of the Harbaugh, it looked like they were always just business, like just everything was about business, and they were always so serious. Now they're playing loose. They're having fun. They're giggling out there. It's a different atmosphere that Jim Tomsula's created. And all due respect to Jim Harbaugh, he was a good coach. You brought the 49ers back. We get it. But just the way he was, his aura, the way he wanted so much control of everything, control of the players, control of this, control of that. I think the players got to the point where they were just like, dude, shut up. Like, just stop. We're here. We want to play. We want to have fun. And we want to play. We want to win for you, yes, but we want to have fun doing it. We don't need all this crap and you monitoring us and all this other stuff. And it's gotten to that point. I think Jim Tomsula is the coach that they needed. Somebody that can teach, brings other coaches that teach, and now they're blitzing. Vic Fangio didn't blitz, what? Never. They were the least blitzing team in the NFL. And now they're blitzing almost every play, and they're doing things with the blitz. So media's retracting. You're going to start to see that all throughout the year because this defense is a lot better than a lot of people thought. And these young DBs, let's talk about them. This might be a longer show than usual. I usually do it, around 13 minutes or a little less or whatever, but this might be a longer show because we're talking about 3 preseason games. We're talking about a lot of things going on, and I still have a lot to talk about. But these young DBs, Keith Reeser, Kenneth Acker intercepted Manning and then throwing the ball up. I don't know what he was doing on that play, but this is a rookie mistake. I'm sure they talked to him and shored that up real quick. But Kenneth Acker and Keith Reeser look awesome out there. I like Tremaine Brock, of course, and hopefully they do something with Sharice Wright. Just get him out while you can, or put him at a backup. Who cares if you pay him a little bit extra? Just leave him at backup. He just doesn't look right out there to me. It just doesn't look like he belongs in a 49er uniform. I don't know why, but he just doesn't seem like a good corner to me. And I just like the young DBs a lot. So hopefully, he's maybe one of the people that gets cut. I doubt it. But Tremaine Brock, Keith Reeser, Kenneth Acker looking great. Jimmy Ward's playing safety now. I like that idea. I didn't like him, the idea of him going into the nickel spot. I liked Keith Reeser there. Keith Reeser's a much more athletic, much more faster, and better, conditioned to play corner, where Jimmy Ward's never played really corner. He's just played safety. So he's back in his natural position. Eric Reed looks like he's flying around out there already. Bethea looks great. And like I said, this young secondary is, I'm telling you, they're looking good. So I'm excited about them. Some cuts happened today. We'll talk about a little bit of the cuts. Trey Millard was cut. I was shocked about that one because he's a fullback. But I think I know why they cut him. They brought him on to play special teams and fullback, and I'm sure they got other special teams players now to play. And we have a fullback in Bruce Miller. And even if Bruce Miller does have some problems with the law, because he does have something ongoing issue going on, and we'll get to ongoing issues in a second, but he does have something going on. But if he does get suspended, I think Blake Bell, Vernon Davis, those type of players will step up and play the fullback role. And they can do that. They can do that H-back, fullback role, and I think they'll do it well. So we'll see what happens with that. Law problems, Ahmad Brooks. Everybody knew about it from last year. Turns out, he got charged with, Ray McDonald got indicted, and he got and Ahmad Brooks got charged. But me personally, I don't think he should be on the team. I think he should get cut. Aldon Smith, I don't have a problem with because he's got something different going on. He's just an alcoholic and he's got problems, and I think them helping him is a good thing. But Ahmad Brooks, I'm not saying that he shouldn't help Ahmad Brooks. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that he needs not to be on the team. Like, he needs to get cut, released, something, or put on the commissioner's exempt list. Just put him on the shelf and put him away, because I don't think he should play this year for the 49ers. It's not because I just think he needs to get his life straight, his stuff cleared up. I think Ahmad Brooks had some problems. I know that they're saying that he was doing a lot better, but he did hit a 49er on the head with a bottle a couple years ago. He did have some problems coming into the 49ers before he got to the 49ers, and I just think he has a temper problem, and he needs to fix that. He needs to fix himself. And despite how good he is, despite how talented he is, I still think the 49ers get by with the talent they have. And I'd rather not have him as a distraction on the Niners, especially with the way they're playing so loose, the way they're playing so together. I just think that he should just step aside, basically. That would be probably best. They should just move on from him and just go on from there. They're weeding out all those players that they had problems with, and the media makes it sound like the whole team has been in. You would think that every team member is getting arrested, but really it's been Aldon Smith, Ahmad Brooks, Ray McDonald. I mean, Chris Culliver had a problem too, but he's gone. You know, they're getting rid of these players, and rightfully so. They don't want the problems. They don't want the hassle. They're moving on to younger players, and these guys happen to be really talented, and I like it. So we'll see what happens in the future with that, but I really think Ahmad Brooks should not play this year. But I will get to the roster stuff on the next episode of Niner News after the 4th preseason game. I'll talk about who I think should get cut, who I think it might stay, how I think the depth chart's going to be. But right now the Niners look good to me. I don't know. Everybody else thinks they suck. I know. You know, you're hearing all the media reports about how horrible we are. Paul Gutierrez on ESPN still writes horrible articles. I've called him out on a few again. He actually wrote one today with said Kaepernick gets a thumbs down, and because he was 2 for 5 in the game, and he said he basically said that a running play, he had a running scramble for 34 yards, and it doesn't count because Kaepernick, it wasn't a designed run. What? What are you talking about? The linebackers, the defensive ends get in, and within seconds, Kaepernick takes off, runs for 34 yards, and you say it's not a good play because it wasn't a designed run? Like, what? Anyways, I'm gonna leave you with something real quick. It's a comment made by a person on Facebook on that article, and basically a lot of people have been making fun of Jim Tomsula, making fun of Colin Kaepernick. And this is from I believe a 49er fan, and he's talking about Paul Gutierrez and talking about Jim Tomsula, and I'll read the whole comment real quick, and then we'll go. But he says, "I know that Paul, the writer, is most definitely not a football expert or seemingly even a fan, but I think I can shed some light for those who don't follow San Francisco. Tomsula has been the best defensive line coach in the league. Although the lines have been rotated out since he got here in 2007, one thing has been consistent. They've rated the top at run stopping and quarterback hurries. The San Francisco front seven has been one of the most formidable every year he has coached, and that's not an accident. Tomsula has a very high football IQ. He preaches details and is a wizard at the football version of sleight of hand defense. He most definitely does not approach preseason like other coaches. He has no interest in finding out if Kaepernick was going to make proper adjustments on the line to shore up coverages. Tomsula's been around long enough to know that in order to get a read on who can play the right side of the line, he moved the experience over to the left and most definitely didn't want changes made. He needed to evaluate how well the linemen adjusted on their own. How did they use their technique? If you watch, you know he threw guys in and out of the lineup all game, every game this preseason and throughout training camp. He knows that he needs to understand who's the most rounded for week 1, and you don't get that way by making guesses without some on-field data to back it up. Back in the Sando days, Mike Sando used to be the NFC West coverer on ESPN. Leading up to the Harbaugh hire, I was pulling for Tomsula as coach. Watch him mic'd up, and you'll see why. He is very quick to make adjustments and understands the game and the players in a way not many coaches do. He has his chance now, and I'm eager to see if my gut was right about him. His handling of the preseason thus far is giving me a lot of hope that it is." That's a true fan right there, and that's someone who understands football and understands what's going on with the 49ers, and I appreciate that because a lot of us, we see that. You see guys like Rombo Sports, and guys, make sure you check him out. The guy does a phenomenal podcast. I'm hoping to be on it. Rombo, if you watch this, get me on there, man. Get me on there. I'm dying to be on there. But anyways, these guys, they're eager to see what the 49ers bring. And if you watch them the last few years and you watch that dead offense and some of the stuff that Greg Roman was running and no screen passes and just no electricity in the offense, you'll know that that's what was going on. And now we're starting to, he immediately comes in, Tom Sula, and starts correcting mistakes. He starts correcting things. Starts correcting things that went wrong the last few years that just haven't been touched. That just were, oh, we'll just get over it. You don't just get over things. You got to practice it. You got to do things. Tom Sula's a teacher. He brought in teachers to do that. And that's the kind of team this is going to be. This is a young squad. Very young squad now. There's a lot of older veterans now that are gone. Darnell Dockett's on that defensive line. He's probably one of the oldest players on the team. He might be the oldest player on the team. Minus Phil Dawson, obviously, the 40-year-old kicker. But still, Tom Sula's brought in a lot of guys, and I think the Niners will be great this year. We'll see what happens, but I think the Niners are going to be a lot better than advertised. I think a lot of people and media especially are going to be backtracking on their thoughts of them at the beginning of the year. AKA, oh man, I was listening to the radio and the Dan Patrick show, and he said they were talking about who's going to be the top defense in the NFC, or they were saying the amazing defenses that are in the AFC East, being the Patriots, the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills, and they were like, who's the best conference with defense? And they said it has to be the NFC West. And Dan Patrick immediately says, well, the 49ers are in that conversation. That's what he said. Immediately says that. He goes, they lost too many players. There's no way the 49ers are in that conversation. They're at the bottom of that defensive list. Disrespect right there. And I'm telling you, if a 49er heard that, and I hope you guys heard that from Dan Patrick's show, he thinks you guys will stink. He thinks the 49ers will stink on defense just because, they lost Patrick Willis, Justin Smith, and the players. They lost too many players. There's no way they can be that good. There's no way they're going to be good. And you've seen it already this preseason. They can dominate games on the defensive line of scrimmage. There's no way they're not going to still dominate the line of scrimmage. We'll see, but I'm telling you right now, that defense is one to be reckoned with, and I'm excited to see it this year. So let me know in the comment section what you think. I'm going to cut this off now because I'm getting a little too long, but let me know in the comment section what you think about the 49ers defense, the offense, the O-line, who you think should start at the O-line, and what positions and where, who you think should be cut, who you think should they keep, who you think they're going to keep at running back, at wide receiver, who you're most excited about at watching this year besides Jarryd Hayne, because I know that we're all excited about Jarryd Hayne, but who you're most excited about seeing, and tell me, also let me know what you think the 49ers record will be this year, because I'm predicting them at 11-5, at worst 10-6, but barring any, if there's a bunch of injuries, maybe they can go 8-8 again, but I think 11-5 is not hard to get for this year for the 49ers. We'll see, but anyways, let me know in the comment section all those thoughts, and thank you for watching, and I'm out. Peace.